Silicon Valley is no stranger to bubbles. The first dot-com boom of the late 90s to early 2000s saw internet companies get billion-dollar valuations, only to become worthless when the bubble burst.
And now there's a new billionaires club in town.
Pandora and LinkedIn recently went public with billion-dollar valuations, and both Groupon and Zynga have filed for their IPOs.
And not to mention Facebook, which less than 7 years ago was an idea in Mark Zuckerberg's head, now worth 50 billion, and could go as high as 100 billion by the time it hits the public markets. But it's not just well-established tech companies that are in this club. Startups are also being valued past the $1 billion mark.
Airbnb, the crowdsourced marketplace for turning your apartment into a hotel, are in the midst of raising a $100 million round of funding. Mobile payment system Square and cloud-based storage service Dropbox are also in the billion-dollar startup club.
And with Lady Gaga and Ashton Kutcher investing in internet startups, is this all beginning to get a little bit frothy?
Yes, absolutely, we're in a bubble. I think we're seeing inflation and valuations on two ends of the bubble. I think we're seeing valuation inflation in early stage investments in technology startups, and we're seeing it in public IPOs. Both of them are at prices that just didn't exist 3, 4, 5 years ago, or even a year ago.
So if we are in a bubble, is there anything different this time around that'll prevent it from bursting?
The other thing which is very different is there are companies being valued on fundamentals. So people are looking at they're looking at revenues, they're looking at earnings multiples, they're looking at cash flow multiples. In the late 90s, they were looking at eyeballs, websites, page views, all these things which might have nothing to do with actually revenue.
I think we've seen a series of bubbles that ended up in a stealth phase and an institutional investment phase, and then a mania phase where the prices just kind of shoot up irrationally and then always end up in a crash.
But there are other signs we're in a bubble. Photo sharing app Color raised $41 million before it had even launched.
Palo Alto is littered with startup houses like these, and they're the lifeblood of today's dot-com entrepreneur. Here, they'll live, eat and breathe building startups in the hope of taking their business plans a few miles that way down to Sand Hill Road, the hub of venture capital activity. But just how receptive are VCs to investing their capital today in the big ideas of tomorrow?
They were kind of coming to us. So when we were thinking about going out and raising money, it was really easy for us to get in touch with them. And then also a thing that helped a lot too was AngelList. So we were sent out on AngelList twice.
And we had a really hard time. We struggled quite a bit. And I think it was a great experience because we learned a ton about how to improve our pitch and our business, honestly. But the break came when we were introduced. After 9 months, we had run out of money, to be honest, to Dave McClure, Silicon Valley angel, and took capital from him, moved down to the Bay Area, and then we're able to raise quite a bit more after that.
Signs of a bubble are evident here in Silicon Valley.
But this bubble looks very different from the last one. Both entrepreneurs and investors are smarter, making sure companies are making real revenue before being taken to the public markets. Will the bubble burst? Well, it looks like it might deflate a little bit, but it could be part of a bigger global trend where people are more plugged in, switched on, and willing to spend online.
And how long does this technology bubble last? The last one lasted from August 1995 to March 2000, so it was about a 4.5-year run. Can this one last as long? Possibly.